friends! Thanks for coming over to Nanny Jen's Storytime Couch. Today we're going to read Space Witch by Dawn Freeman. Late one autumn afternoon, Tilly Ipswich, Queen of Halloween, came flying home on her broomstick, carrying a book called What Every Space Traveler Ought to Know. She had bought it at the planetarium, where she had been studying the stars. Tilly landed on her craggy mountain peak, parked her broom in the broom port, and scurried into her rickety old house. Her pet cat, Kit, was there at the top of the stairs, purring a warm welcome. While Kit had his supper, Tilly began to read all about spaceships and satellites. Finally, she said, "Kit, how would you like to spend Halloween frightening creatures on other planets?" Kit answered, "Me? Ow!" Even though her pet did not seem enthusiastic, Tilly started at once to design a spaceship big enough for 2 travelers. She decided to name it the Zoom Broom. To build the Zoom Broom, she would need material much stronger than metal and much lighter. She began to stir up a new brew in her big iron cauldron. Into the boiling pot, she threw some copper coils, a pair of suspenders, a wad of tinfoil, 3 pounds of beeswax, 6 containers of silly putty, and for good luck, 1 ladybug wing. Tilly stirred and stirred, all the while chanting charms and spells, and at last, to her amazement, she found that she had concocted a material as fantastic as plastic. She poured it into a mold she hollowed out of an old dinosaur's tooth. When she had made all the parts for the Zoom Broom, she glued them together with extra strong, fast-hardening glue. Then she propped up her spaceship into launching position and filled the tank with enough jet black magic to send them to the moon. She zipped herself into a spacesuit she had stitched together out of inner tubes from spare tires. And now came Tilly's biggest problem, how to coax Kit to stay in the cockpit. "Let me out! Let me out!" he yowled. But the minute she said they would probably be flying through the Milky Way, Kit settled down without another yowling word. Now they were ready to blast off. Tilly Ipswich, Space Witch, strapped herself into the pilot's seat and began the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Up whooshed the Zoom Broom high into the sky. Hour after hour, Tilly and Kit swerved and curved, sailing farther and farther away from Earth. At noon the following day, they zoomed over the moon, but they couldn't see a single creature to scare, only dry, empty craters and a tall, spear-like mountain. So off they streaked in search of the planet Mars. But the Zoom Broom had a will of its own, turned and headed for the planet Saturn instead. Tilly shook her head as they came close. "No siree," she said. "That can't be Mars, not with that burning hoop wheeling around its middle. Oh, fiddlesticks, we're way off our course." Suddenly, Tilly shouted, "Look up there, the Milky Way, straight ahead." But not a single drop of milk did they see in all that field of twinkling stars, and even the cat could tell they were lost. All at once, the Zoom Broom began to sputter and zigzag. "Toads and adders," Tilly wailed. "We're running out of jet black magic." They were streaking wildly towards a spinning planet when, zoing! The spaceship slipped down between 2 sharp mountain peaks and screeched to a stop. "Oh, Kit, we've made it! We've landed on Mars! Now just to find somebody to scare." They scrambled out into the eerie moonlight, and as Tilly climbed down the steep cliff, she caught sight of a swarm of tiny lights bobbing around on the level ground below. Outlandish-looking creatures with large heads and very small feet could be seen trotting back and forth, making weird horn-like sounds. "Why, Kit, those must be Martians on the march. What a grand treat we'll have frightening off their silly little feet." The creatures, however, had spied the Earth visitors and vanished in a twinkling. Kit could think of nothing but finding something to eat. He headed straight for the strange, lonesome-looking house and darted through an open door. Tilly dashed after him into a dark, empty room, and bang! The door slammed shut behind them. "Come out, my pet," Tilly urged. "These Martians might not like an Earth cat snooping around here." And at that very instant there came a sharp knock at the door. "Now's our chance," whispered Tilly, and made the scariest face any witch had ever made. Kit bristled his fur and bared his teeth, prepared to spring at anything alive. Slowly, Tilly opened the creaky door. Creak! And just as she was about to leap, there came a terrific shout. "Trick or treat! Trick or treat!" screamed a flock of flapping little ghosts, the most terrifying band of Halloweeners any witch had ever seen. Poor Tilly, she was swept completely off her feet, and down she fell in a dead faint. As for Kit, no rocket ever zoomed faster. The playful children laughed. "We didn't mean to scare you so much," said a little girl with a devil's mask, "but you shouldn't have hid in our haunted house." Tilly blinked her eyes and said, "Wait, who are you? And where am I? What day is it?" "Oh, we're kids from Pikes Peak, USA, planet Earth, and it's Halloween," the children all answered proudly. "Do you want to go trick-or-treating with us?" "What did you say? It's Halloween!" screamed Tilly. Up she jumped and whistled for Kit. "Children, it's time my cat and I were on our way. But first you must fetch me a broom." Once Tilly had a broom in her hand, she felt more like her old self again. She couldn't wait a second longer and leapt astride the stick. She mumbled some mystic words, "Mumbo-jumbo, gloom and doom, abracadabra, whisk broom bar," and off she floated. "Don't forget your cat," the children laughed. "Don't worry, I wouldn't forget my pet for all the world, but thank you kids anyway." Tilly flew straight home, and as soon as she had parked the broom in the broom port, she hurried indoors, slipped out of her spacesuit, and into a comfortable old kimono. Then she lit a fire in the fireplace and sat down to pop corn. "Somehow I don't feel quite up to flying around scaring kids anymore tonight," said Tilly Ipswich as she yawned a deep yawn. "How about you, Kit?" But Kit was already curled up in his basket, purring happily in his sleep. You could almost hear him say, "There's no space like home." Thanks for coming over today. I had a great time, and I hope you did too. See you next time.